If you're just tuning in, you're watching Spotlight. I'm your host, Jane Wynette, and joining me now from the Naperville Astronomical Association are Chris Almanza and Rick Gering. Very nice to have you both here. And Chris, I'm going to start right out with you.
All right.
What kinds of things could I see if I came to your observatory?
Well, the observatory there's two buildings out there. There's the visual one where you will climb up a ladder and use your eyeballs to look at the stars and other objects that we try to show you. And in that same building, we have an education center. So it's also, we call it the Astronomical Education Center. So there's a part where people can go warm up, and especially those colder nights, and also find information about astronomy. And then the other observatory is a setup for camera work. So you'll be looking more like at a screen, but it'll show you the colors of the sky, which you normally can't see at night with your own eyes.
Okay.
So those are the primary two observatories that we have.
Okay, and tell me where they are.
They're on the south side of Naperville, on Naperville Plainfield Road on the Springbrook Water Reclamation Plant.
Okay. Okay.
And on their property, we often have events out there. We'll publish that and make it available to the public. And we put up signs basically trying to catch even foot traffic, well, driving traffic, as they go by and bring them in and direct them to where to go. So.
I like that. And was it set up there because there's not so much ambient light there? Or, you know, what was the particular reason that you set up there?
Right. So back when the club first started, it was much darker down over in that area. So it was definitely a much darker area. And of course, this, over the years has developed to the point where it's pretty much the same light dome as anywhere in Naperville.
Okay.
But it's definitely a little bit darker. And we've built up places to block off some of the light as much as we can.
Okay.
And
but the real reason was that it was an unused piece of city land.
Yeah.
And the city was kind enough, and has been kind enough for the past 50 years, to let us put the observatory there and keep it there.
No, that's good. That's good, right? That's nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
we feel special that they let us do that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So Rick, you know, talk a little bit about what drew you to the Astronomical Association and what you like about it.
Well, you know, what's been really the main focus of NAA since it started is public outreach. And for example, it's not just showing people neat things in the sky, although that's part of it. And it's nice to see neat things in the sky, but also while they're at the eyepiece, trying to get them to understand some of the reasons why what they're seeing is special. For example, the Andromeda Galaxy, 2.5 million light years away from here. And the reason you're seeing it, and the only reason you can see it, is because 2.5 million years ago, little packets of light energy called photons, real things, not just hypothetical stuff,
Not stuff
but
on Star Wars.
real physical things were created by the stars in the Andromeda Galaxy, started going out in all directions. Some of them came this way. And 2.5 million years later, some of them went down that telescope tube, through the eyepiece, and landed on your retina. And those photons spent their entire 2.5 million year life crossing the emptiness of time and space for no other reason than to hit your retina, have their energy converted to an image in your mind, and allow you to see the Andromeda Galaxy. And
Very
if you
cool.
don't feel a little special at that point, there's probably something wrong with you. So I really like the outreach aspect, and being able to share that with others it's really a privilege.
Oh, nice. And Chris, you know, talk a little bit for yourself, you know, how has the association, how has the NAA really sort of, you know, made you feel like the hobby that you started with has become more than just that?
Yeah, when I first joined, I was just a very casual observer. I would always, as a young kid, would go out and look up at the stars. Didn't have any real knowledge about it back then. And then even when I joined the club, I only had a very beginner scope and didn't even really know how to use it. But then after going to the meetings, and we have 2 meetings a month, a public speaker that comes at the first Tuesday of the month, and then a second one, which is really the one I enjoyed at the beginning, which is the fundamentals, teaching people how to use their equipment and how to do astronomy. And even as much as something as simple as dressing properly to do it. And a cold night. You need to know this.
I suppose that's true. I hadn't really thought about that, right?
Yes, it's very important.
Part of the equipment.
Yes, it is. And so I have definitely evolved, I mean, from a casual observer to someone who went and built his own telescope with the help of the club members. I got input and feedback, and they definitely have helped me. And then having the observatories handy, available, and places where we can gather together, our dark sites, where members can get together and share equipment and share views and share information. And so I think that's one of the best things. I've just completely evolved, and now I'm doing astrophotography, and I just keep trying to up my game, as they say, right? So it's definitely helped me grow in the hobby, and the community of the members are, everybody's willing to give someone help, and that's what's
nice.
really great.
Well, and it's a shared passion too, right?
Absolutely.
Talk a little bit about that just for a moment in terms of your membership. Does it, because you talked about starting when you were kind of a little bit of a kid and kind of just interested in going out and looking at the stars. Do you have young people that are a part of the club? Tell me a little bit about that.
We have members all the way from grade school up through even older than me, if you could imagine such a thing. There was one kid we had a couple years ago. I think he was 7 years old, and he had a favorite variable star. I mean, that's just sort of amazing to me. But yeah, we have members at all age brackets, and everybody. I think it's probably correct that if you allow yourself to be fascinated by what's up there, you will be fascinated by what's up there, regardless of how old you are.
And those members aren't just located here in the Chicagoland area. We do have some members that are in other states, and so even if they join and they move away, they tend to stay involved.
Stay involved. That's nice. That's
Yeah.
nice. So Rick, and I love what you're saying. Why should I look up? Why should I look up?
Oh, there's so many reasons. I mean, there's beautiful things, there's fascinating things, there are things that will make your mind do backflips and then curly cues, and you still won't get it. But I think the best answer to that, there's an old Calvin and Hobbes cartoon that I love. They're sitting out under a nighttime sky, and Calvin says something along the line, I'm paraphrasing obviously, but it comes down to, if more people went out and looked at the stars at night, I'll bet they'd act differently during the day. And I think that's true. There's a sense of connectedness, I think, that comes from learning the sky, understanding the sky, and understanding our place in it, us and our silly little planet orbiting around this frankly kind of undistinguished mediocre star at the outskirts of a major galaxy. But at the same time, with all that ordinariness, being as special as we obviously are, and also being connected to a system that's so much larger than we are, and almost larger than we can conceive of.
Sure.
It gives you a perspective, and I think it's a good thing.
I like that, and a sense of where we are in the whole big world.
Exactly.
Not just our little world, right?
Absolutely.
Chris, thoughts from you?
Oh, I don't know if I could expand on that. Calvin and Hobbes is hard to follow. But I agree completely. It's a great thought. It makes me connected to something bigger than myself. And some would say it's a religious experience to look at some of this stuff. And I would say that for myself, because it just puts awe and inspiration in me and makes me want to keep going out night after night. And even, sometimes having to explain to loved ones, like, why are you going out again? You've seen that before. And I'm like, yes, I know. But every time I see it, it makes me connect with the universe and everything around me.
Nice.
And it's different photons each time.
And every time it's different photons.
I like that. Well, thank you both so much for coming by. We really appreciate it. And hopefully you've inspired more of us to do a little bit more of looking up, right? And if you would like to find out more about the Naperville Astronomical Association, please go and visit their website.